So, MediaTek is trying to destroy the competition with the new Dimensity 9400. So this CPU is supposed to be unveiled on October the 9th, and a previous leak said October the 14th. But anyway, only a few days later, Qualcomm will also unveil the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4, which is supposed to be the closest competitor to the Dimensity 9400. And if you look at the score, you have 3 million points in Antutu, which is a whole million higher than last year's 8 Gen 3, which is 50% faster performance. That is crazy. So the first phone that's supposed to get the CPU is the Vivo X200 Pro, and also the Oppo Find X Pro, which apparently scored a little bit less. I have a post here that says that this year's new flagship is coming early, and the Dimensity 9400 will be released in 2 months. So this is revealed in October and probably released in November. The GPU is also worth looking forward to. Using this new GPU, according to the new leaked data, the performance is 30% faster than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, and the power saving is 40% under the same performance. So yes, the Dimensity is going to be more powerful and more power efficient than the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. And we have another post by Ice Universe that says that the ray tracing performance of Dimensity 9400 has been improved by nearly 20%, which means that hopefully we should be seeing more ray tracing games. And even more exciting news is that Dimensity is going to be cheaper than Snapdragon. If you look at this post, the cost of this generation of flagships has skyrocketed by 20%. And if you think about it, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 was around $200, and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 should be more expensive. And if you look here, the Dimensity 9400 is around $155, and the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is $190, which is around a 20% difference. And the cost of this generation of flagship CPUs is almost the same as the price of a mid-range phone. And what he's saying here is basically that $40 difference could be the amount for a CPU that you could put in like a mid-range phone, which is huge. And just to double check some of the numbers, I'm going to compare Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 to Dimensity 9400, and if you scroll down and look at some benchmarks, you see Antutu 3 million points, which is 50% faster than last gen. And if you look at Geekbench, 30% more performance in single core and 23% higher multi-core score, which is quite impressive. However, this is not the competition because Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 is last year's. So let's have a look at Snapdragon 8 Gen 4. You can see that they're really close, and the 9400 is 3% faster, but that doesn't really mean anything. That's just a margin of error. And if we look at Geekbench 6, we can see Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 is still 13% faster both in single core and multi-core. But this is a very small difference, and considering how cheap Dimensity is, I think next year this might be a better choice for most flagships. This is quite interesting. If you look at the votes, most people are actually voting for Dimensity over the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4. But if you look at the comments, people are defending Snapdragon 8 Gen 4. And someone named Toast says, no matter what, Snapdragon chips are always preferred due to their optimizations and emulation, which means that people will probably still prefer to get the Snapdragon even if the performance is so close. I'm very curious, how is the Dimensity 9400 comparing to the Apple M3, which is a laptop CPU? And surprisingly, in Geekbench, it's only 8% away. That's actually really close to the single core. However, the multi-core is quite far away, but then you still have to remember the fact that this is a laptop CPU, and our phones are catching up to laptops, which is pretty mind-blowing. But anyway, I'm really excited about Dimensity 9400, and it's only 1 to 2 weeks away. And it's going to be really interesting to see the real-life benchmarks compared to the 8 Gen 4 and stuff like gaming performance, thermals, and the power usage. But yeah, let's just wait and see.